Let's get into higher, lower, Hail Mary. We got, a healthy mailbag as usual on these Thursday shows. You went 3-2 last week. Is that right?
Oh, no, that was from before.
Because I was looking at that and I was just like, I don't think you were right if you were lower on Lamar, which is what it said. I was like, he scored like 150 fantasy.
That was from week
so
one.
I'm going to pretend that I didn't even see that. That's why I didn't go into it. I was like, I want you to defend this. Well,
yeah.
I think I'm reading this wrong. All right, let's get into higher for this week, hopefully. Justin Herbert, he's at Houston. You like him as your QB4. That's 3 spots higher than the experts.
Absolutely. Big fan of him. I got a lot of questions like, do we go back to him? Do we trust him after last week's debacle? Oddly, the Jags defense is top 10 in DVOA against the run and the pass right now. They're one of the best defenses. One of the better teams just overall right now, it seems, the Jags. Shocking development. And plus, Herbert was dealing with the ribs, really banged up. Meanwhile, one of the worst teams in the league is Houston. I think he just comes out, unloads on them, even with the banged up line, even with Keenan Allen potentially missing the game. There's no way he should be a sit-start question. Again, top 4 lock. I think we're getting like a nice 30-point. This is why Justin Herbert was a top 3 quarterback pick in every league type of game. Yes, he should have been below Hurts and Lamar Jackson. I can admit that at this point. And of course, Josh Allen's ahead of him. But to me, he's still the number 4 guy in my eyes. And I think he shows why against a bad Houston secondary.
It's time for Tom Brady to rebound. You believe you've got him as your quarterback 9 as he faces Kansas City. That's only 2 spots above the experts, but it's worth noting, I'd say. He's got a lot of guys coming back, a lot of weapons.
He's another guy I get questions about every time, and deservedly so. He's like the quarterback 25 right now in fantasy. Very, very abysmal start to the year, but you got to keep things in mind. 1, he's faced 3 of the top 5 pass defenses in the league to start the year. 2, he's had none of his weapons to start the year, and obviously all the chaos going on at home. I can't speak to that. I don't know what's happening with him and Giselle. It has probably been affecting his play, but I think this is a nice get-right spot against the Chiefs. They're going to need to be on their A game. This is the type of game Brady really lasers in for. They've given up the 9th most points to quarterbacks. At least Evans will be back. Seems like Gage and him finally have a nice rapport as well. Julio probably going to be back. Looked great in week 1. And maybe even Godwin's back. But even if not, his left tackle as well, Donovan Smith, should be back too. So big onslaught of talent coming back for them. The best matchup he's had by a country mile this year. I think Brady rebounds big and has a nice 300-yard, 2 to 3 touchdown day. Big on the bounce back this year.
A guy you're lower on, and I can't believe this is even on the list. Not because that I think you're wrong. It's like I just can't believe that I think you and the media are high on this guy. You got Russell Wilson at Vegas as your quarterback 14. The experts have him all the way up at 10. I think you're both being really generous. You want to hear a trade that my buddy Johnny Goodtimes offered me this week?
Yes.
He offered me Russell Wilson and Adam Thielen in exchange for Jalen Hurts.
That's just insulting.
And I told him it was insulting, and he was like, well, it's a starting point. It's like, no, it's not.
No,
like, you're offering me like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league and a washed receiver for like the number 3 quarterback in fantasy. Anyway, Russell Wilson's a freaking joke, in my opinion. Go ahead. Talk.
Absolutely is a joke. He's averaged 12.9 fantasy points per game. He's 25th right now in quarterback points, below Geno Smith over there.
Substantially. There's like 5 guys on waivers in my league that have had better fantasy seasons than Russell.
Oh, yeah. Mariota, like Baker's right there with him.
Baker's higher than Russell, I'm pretty sure, and he sucks.
He sucks. He's absolutely brutal. As is Russell Wilson. They are dead last right now, the Broncos, with a 14% touchdown percentage when they get to the red zone. That's worse than Seattle, the next worst team at 25%. Carolina's at 38%, the 3rd worst team. So 14 freaking percent. I mean, that is just sickening. And it's not like
they're 2-1. It's an abomination. What's going on?
That's an abomination. He's had the number 1 clean pocket percentage. He's had the number 4 line and pass blocking grade. So it's not the line. It's not like he's under duress all the 7. Top 7 in deep pass attempts and normal pass rate right now. I think he might just suck. Like, he really just might be a bad player at this point. Quarterback 24 and 29 after a quarterback 14 finish. He's never been above quarterback 14. So suddenly,
I can't believe you have him at 14.
Top 10.
I really can't believe
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I might be too high on him, and I'm already 4 spots below the ECR on this guy. The one thing is, like, if there's a get-right spot, it could be the Raiders. It's a nice, juicy matchup. It's one of the few games that feels like it could get to a shootout, but this team, the play calling's bad. Russell's bad. I think he just sucks, and I think he's going to
feel like the Raiders are better than they are, and they have to win, and I think they're going to beat the Broncos.
I think he needs to be cut in fantasy leagues. I tweeted that out today, Truth, and I was like, he's also the biggest tool in the NFL, and it's a bad locker room presence. Some friggin' nerd was like, That is so unnecessary. You don't have to put your hate out there into the world. I'm now unfollowing you. I'm like, oh no. Oh, please. Oh, don't unfollow me, masked man. Like, oh God. It just like I just said he's the biggest tool in a bad life. One little joke about that, and he's like, you are better than that. You should
We're
be a
allowed to
better.
call. You're not better than that. That's
No,
exactly who you are.
isn't that bad? Like, he's a tool. Russell Wilson's an
We're
absolute
allowed to
tool
call
bag.
people tools.
Like, what's so bad about calling out a guy that's a tool? Every single one of his teammates has hated playing with him throughout their career. Everyone shits on him once they're not his quarterback anymore. And like, you see the mannerisms. He's like in the middle of the field, like juking out nobody, like doing all the stupid shit to then suck. Like, he's a loser. He's an absolute tool bag.
You can
like,
only
I made a
behave
joke
like
about
that
it
if
impacting
you.
your locker room. Get over it. It's sad, sensitive, freaking. I don't get it.
You can
Let's
only
move on
behave
to some
that
Hail
way.
Marys. I'd rather play than him.
Look, if you act like that, you have to be awesome.
Exactly.
Like when Cam Newton had his MVP year and he was like dressing like a pimp at every press conference, it was okay
Then it's great
because he was the
and
MVP.
I love it.
Once he started sucking, it wasn't as cool anymore.
Not cool at all.
Hail Mary, Marcus Mariota. I feel like you're just going to roll him out at this spot every single week.
I think I've had him every single week, and he's only 23% rostered still. He's facing a Cleveland team that's given up the 10th most points to quarterbacks, even though they faced Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, and Mitch Trubisky. They've still given up the 10th most points to quarterbacks. That tells you Marcus Mariota, who right now is quarterback 13 in fantasy points per game, is actually a pretty good play. They're pushing the ball downfield, 11th in deep pass attempts, and of course the Konami upside, 4th in carries, 6th in rushing yard, 1st in red zone carries. So I think this is a great spot for Marcus Mariota in a game that I could see being an ugly shootout. I absolutely love the play. Now, if he's gone in your league, I think Geno Smith, who we just said is outscored Russell Wilson on the year, 11% rostered, gets a Detroit secondary, 2nd most fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks. And we did see a big uptick. And this is why I think I can actually play this guy and feel okay about playing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett again.
I think so
after
too.
Averaging 48 plays in their first 2 games, which was like 15 less than the next closest. They ran 69 plays after Pete Carroll said, we're going to try to go more up tempo, really get more action going here, snapping it with 15 seconds or more on 47% of the play. So really did pick up the pace. Great news for both of those weapons, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And it makes Geno Smith actually viable against a really, really bad Detroit team.
I'm going to tell you a secret. I kind of like Geno Smith. I don't mean like, I'm not even really talking about fantasy. I know he's not a great quarterback, but it's like he's just one of those guys, you hear his name and automatically everyone's just like, he sucks. And it's like, and so just because of that, I kind of pull for him a little bit.
I'm pulling for him. Yeah, why not? I'm pulling for the Seahawks. Like, I don't really care if they win or lose, but I fucking clearly Russell Wilson.
It was nice seeing him beat the Broncos.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Watch list burning questions. Obviously, Zach Wilson coming back. How's that going to impact the offense? We'll see. And is Kenny Pickett going to show up? I don't know. Mitch Trubisky's looks pretty good. I really
hope so. It's about damn time. Let's get it. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments. Check out some more videos and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.